Hello everybody, we have a new game with the white pieces against Oleg. We're now over 1500 and he opens up with the Scandinavian. But he does this delayed option where you recapture with the knight instead of the queen. Um, so in this line we're going to actually play c4. A little different since he puts the knight here. And then we're going to plant the knight behind the pawn so we have more active development scheme. So he plays e6, tries to castle as quickly as possible. We're simply going to develop our second knight, least active piece. Okay, he develops with a pin. Also, maybe he's looking to apply extra pressure to that pin. So we'll just break the pin. Very simple. Not the most active bishop move, but if we break the pin and then attack the bishop, what the heck? You could go here, but then you weaken light squares. So it's more of like a trap. So we'll just leave his bishop there, right? And now we'll move our bishop to a more active square. He moved his bishop like 10 times, so we can uncover the queen's defense of the pawn. We can move the bishop to an active square, and we can keep the pin. If we take the knight and he recaptures, we can jump our knight in the center. That looks good. If we retreat and he g4s and we go back, let's just take the knight. Okay, he takes with the queen. So now we get a free improving move. Most of his pieces are still undeveloped, which is nice. I mean, I have a lot of space on the queen side, but now I need to get some pieces to back everything up. I need to castle. I get this nice move though in, which is good. It puts his queen back, which is interesting. Now he doesn't have a knight to jump here, you know, if you create a light square weakness like before. And his bishop is shut out completely, which is nice. It also opens up a square for your bishop, which is nice. I'm going to go here though. I'm going to keep the line open for the queen. I don't want to block my queen's defense yet. Okay, so he voluntarily goes back, wasting some time, so now we can castle for free. He goes here, but this doesn't actually threaten anything because we can take with the bishop. Also, now it's really tempting to push because he can no longer challenge this pawn, which means his bishop can only get out this way. Okay, so he develops his knight here, which looks terrible. All of his pieces look fairly terrible. Okay, so let's just do normal stuff. Let's get some pieces in the game. What's our least active piece? I'm thinking maybe we can do something like knight in here. I mean, I don't want to trade, but he's going to trade whether I like it or not at some point. And if he trades now, we create this dark square bind, so his bishop never has anywhere to go. We can play f4 and cement that bind. Open up our rook, and then play down the d file maybe. We'll just go with that plan. And we could also put our bishop on f3. So this is my plan. I put my knight here to open up the d file to create a strong pawn on e5 that we support with f4 with our rook behind it, and we have bishop f3 looking down a good diagonal. So he takes, we take, going right into our plan. Now whether it's good a plan or not is debatable, but it is a plan. So he puts his bishop here, but we're going to need to get our queen off this file anyway because it's for our rooks. So we might as well protect this. Also, this threatens a push for tactics in the future, but it would open up his other bishop. So I would only push if it wins a bishop. Otherwise, I'm not freeing his piece for no reason. If he ever pushes this to try to get the other bishop out, this square is beautiful for the knight. So he puts a rook in the center. We can immediately challenge it, or we can play a forward like our plan. Let's challenge it. If you can move a piece or a pawn, you should probably move the piece. So let's move the piece. And now that we're challenging it, we can play a 4. That way we don't feel guilty about moving a pawn before a piece. And now we can relocate our bishop to maybe a better square. But it doesn't have to go here. Maybe it can, well, it can't really wrap around, but if it could, that would be something. Either way, he's strategically losing because of this bishop. The dark square bishop, it has no future, which means I'm essentially playing up a piece. Okay, so he plants it here, trying to, I guess, create a nice square for it, but I don't really care about the d file anyway. It was more of like our rooks would just stare at each other forever. What I do care about is improving my worst placed piece. And look at the center. We can always move our knight to attack that bishop, encourage further trades. The heck is this? Okay, so maybe he wants to here and push the pawn. Debatable. Weird move, I'll say that much. Okay, at some point, check. How do we make any of these work? We would need our queen to do something. We can encourage the trade since his bishop is bad. Yeah, this knight is not good as long as he keeps this pawn here. So let's attack the bishop and also watch this pawn in case he pushes. Offer the trade and open the diagonal of this piece, increasing our activity. Because our knight is active here, but only if you're gonna like do something with it, but it's not actually doing anything. Okay, so he goes back, but doesn't that just hang the piece? He was playing so well. How do you just hang your bishop like that? And now he's going to resign for sure because look at his other bishop. Yeah. Poor guy. Okay, so we have center and development. Scandinavian, they usually take back at the queen, but sometimes they play this variation where they bring the knight out because you're going to lose this pawn as white anyway. Black's argument is he's not bringing the queen out early by recapturing with the knight. Downside of putting the knight here is it encourages us to kick it, and because it's not a queen, it doesn't have like a check here, you know? It's a knight, so it has to just move without a check. And now we just get to develop behind the pawn with a nice center. So development and center, that's all it says. And you could definitely play other moves, but you know this is coming. I mean, you could pin it. There's that. But I just went bishop d2. A slightly more passive way to play. Breaks the pin. You kick the knight. Again, he can just take it, and when you take it, he can still jump the knight in. So there's really no point to this move. But either way, it's just a fair trade, so it doesn't really matter. But instead, he goes back, and this is just a free move where you're just gaining for stuff for free because everything's tempo on the bishop. Now, a ton of you would be inclined to go here, which is fine because it's really bad for his bishop, but it's really good for his knight. So there's no rush. Like, it's not going anywhere. It's not like he can play c5 and stop us because you take it. So we just develop a piece. This controls the center because it restricts the knight. And okay, you don't have to do that either. You could develop your bishop and castle, but at the moment this pawn is hit, right? So but I'm moving the bishop twice, but I'm also defending his threat. Okay, so forced move, we got to do something. We take so we can get the turn back. He either ruins his pawn structure, or we get the turn back and another turn because we get to improve for free and get the turn back. So that's nice either way he does it. And now we have 3 minor pieces out. He has 1. We have strong pawns. He doesn't. He has just these weird bunny ears. and then king safety, and then here you can develop, you know, rook c1, so that when he takes, you have open stuff. But I push past because this move restricts his bishop's activity as if it's like tremendously. And then we improve our pieces so that we can make the plan that I was going for. Now you do not have to do this because this knight's bad. You can keep improving your pieces, like queen looking at the center, rook to the d file, and then prepare to push your d pawn. You can do that. But I wanted to create this structure that I did in the game. I mean, if he doesn't take, I just have a strong knight here, right? So he takes and I take, and now, okay, I created a weak square on d5, which would be really nice for him to put a knight, but he doesn't have a knight. So the only thing he can put here is a bishop, but who cares, because I could just trade it off. So he goes here trying to take advantage and have at least one good piece, but if he trades it, then we have this diagonal for our bishop, so he doesn't trade. We can test the file because we say it's a slightly more important than f4. We play f4, and now even if he pushed this pawn and got his bishop this way, he still doesn't have an avenue out. That's why I did this. He would have to play f6 and g5 and stuff just to try to break out of the cage. He goes here, but it doesn't actually have any effect. We simply just improve our piece for free, which was staring at a weak pawn. Alternatively, in this position, maybe something like a4, trying to break down his pawns, and then you can push those queenside pawns. But right now, everything is, there's no need to do any of that. We just improve our pieces, and then we get rid of his only piece that's doing anything. If you look at any of his other pieces, they're garbage. So we get rid of this one, he just hangs it immediately. But even if he didn't, like let's say he takes, let's say he takes your bishop, you take with the rook. Now he tries to contest the open file, you double the rooks. He has to take, you take, he brings the other rook over, you back up with the queen, threatening twice again. So he has to take, your queen takes. Now his queen cannot contest the file because it has no support. So your queen has the open file, his bishop has nowhere to go, and you're going to go knight e4 and win the game. So hopefully you kind of followed those arrows, but either way, we take down Oleg of 1500. Pretty good way. This was a fun game, just playing against this dark squared bishop the entire time. You can see all the different strategies in chess, all the different ways to win. All you need is a winning advantage. Just one pawn is enough. Hopefully this helps you. Remember, stop blundering pieces. You will improve faster. Good luck in your chess.